Welcome back to the Today with Tally podcast, folks. We have a great show in store for you today. We sit down with a U.S. Marine combat veteran and a singer-songwriter that has lots to share with us today. But first,
hello, friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Today with Tally. The mission and goal of this podcast is to bring an engaging conversation that will add value to the lives of everyday people. We will inspire, encourage, educate, and tell the stories of America's finest men and women in an effort to motivate you to live your life to its fullest potential. Be sure to follow us on social media and search Today with Tally. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and share the program as well. Ladies and gentlemen, your host of the evening, Mr. Brian Tally.
Over the course of the last year and a half, I have sat down with several musicians, singer-songwriters, especially veterans, to find out what is the mission behind their music, that they speak directly to a extremely vulnerable and at-risk population. A lot of the times, their music has significant meaning, and Scotti Fraser is no different. He joins us now. Scotti, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Appreciate you joining me today. We're gonna have a nice conversation and find out what you've been getting into, what's coming down range, and how our listeners can get behind you.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. It's an honor and a privilege to be on your show. Great.
It's an honor to have you. Now, that logo behind you, is that your label, the Sargent Records?
Yes, that is actually our company logo. It is the Sargent stripes of the Marine Corps with basically a rocker underneath, and that is like a record, like a vinyl record. So it is the logo of Sargent Records, of my startup record label, music production company here in Houston, Texas, all centered around bringing hope and empowerment to America's heroes through the healing powers of music.
So is Sargent Records, is it 501c3? Is it a for-profit organization? Or
Sargent Records is an LLC company, but we like to say that we're an LLC. We're a company with a heart. All of our concerts, our events are all centered around a beneficiary or a cause, someone we're helping, someone we're stepping up to support. And those are usually 501cs that we do support. Like our upcoming event, we'll be supporting 2 501cs in the Houston, Texas area.
Now, you are a U.S. Marine combat veteran. What inspired you to join the military?
Well, I will tell you, ever since I was a little kid, as far back as I can remember, I had 2 main interests in life. And one was being a rock star, and one was specifically being in the Marine Corps. And I may not have gained a major rock star experience, but I am enjoying music, and I am very blessed to say that I was able to do both to some extent. So,
I mean, I've seen your photos. You basically look like a rock star. I mean, you've already checked the box of the Marines. So, I mean,
well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
So you serve some overseas combat deployments, and then obviously you come back home and you begin, your career and you begin your life post-military. Did anything stick with you when you were overseas going through the experiences of combat that has changed you into the man you are today?
Well, absolutely. My experiences in combat were frontline combat in the Marine Corps infantry, and experiencing the visceral, graphic intensities of war. And there was an extensive amount of human suffering and hardship. With that, I saw, basically, while under fire, my comrades, the Marines of my squad and the Marines of my unit, doing extraordinary acts of compassion for the Iraqi people. We were in extreme human suffering and sacrifice, and just seeing those acts of compassion for the local people um, really inspired me to want to serve others with music. And for me, music has always been very, very healing and brought hope and strength through adverse, situations. So I wanted to take those experiences I saw of my brothers, serving other people, and put that into music to bring hope and help people with challenges.
Now, did you have your guitar with you when you were overseas, or is that something that you had to leave back in the rear?
Well, basically, I had to leave it in the rear. We really just had room on our vehicles for weapons and ammunition, and sometimes a little bit of food and that kind of thing. But through 10 years of service, I've always been fortunate enough to come across a guitar one way or the other. It happened when I served in Guantanamo, and on a weekend off, me and my brothers commandeered uh, the cover band that played at the rec area, and we commandeered their equipment and we played music, for our fellow troops. It also happened in the Middle East, where even in the middle of the desert and all that, we were able to come across a guitar that another Marine had brought, and I got to play a little bit. So it's
Yeah.
been really, really cool.
Yeah, because after the day, when you get inside the wire, every now and again, someone will, break out an instrument and kind of play for the guys, or, kind of make your own.
Right.
Mainly drums, right? You can just kind of
Yeah.
tap on stuff and kind of start creating your own little rhythms and stuff right there. But the genre of your music, now you're from Houston. You're a Houston native, right?
I'm actually a California native.
Okay. And so how long have you been in the Houston area?
So I moved when I got out of service, which was about 20 years ago. I moved to Houston. My wife of 20 years is from Houston, and she's a real bona fide Texan. I'd like to think that I am at this point by now. I'm very, very proud of my residency and my life in Texas. But we left Southern California as I was stationed at Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, and we came to Texas to start a family, get married, start our life, and slow down a little bit
Hmm.
from that fast-paced California life. So very, very proud to be here in Texas, and I absolutely love Houston.
Nice. I've seen, some of your songs, you're kind of like a rock and roll guy. You wear a cowboy hat at times. You ever mix any of that, say, like rockabilly type music, or like what's your crowd? What type of crowd do you bring in? Like, what's the genre that you are
Well,
going to put out there?
I try and use a very simple moniker. I like to think my music is very simple. It's rock and roll with influences from country and blues, and yes, even some of that rockabilly that I grew up with. I love old cars and covered with the tattoos and all that kind of thing. I like to tell my story through the tattoos. Um, but we are very blessed that this band can cross over genres. There are times I've played opening up for country artists out of Nashville, and there are times that I'll play with heavy metal and hard rock acts as well. And I also do quite a bit of acoustic, kind of that introspective singer-songwriter acoustic stuff. So we're kind of, the band is really across multi genres, and I like to do that. I don't want to really be kind of in one just whole. So
Sure. Yeah, you want to make yourself very well rounded there.
I want the music and the message to be able to reach a multitude of people. I want it to reach across platforms. The
Hmm.
whole idea behind the music that I do is to bring hope and positivity and strength through the music. So I hope it can spread around a little bit.
Well, we all need hope and positivity and healing and strength in these times that we're living in. I can tell you right now, the world is kind of angry with a lot of
Absolutely.
things. So if people can, sit down and connect with the song, that can improve their day, and then perhaps maybe turn around and improve somebody else's day.
Absolutely.
You're doing your job. So you had mentioned, hey, you're full of tattoos. You tell your story through tattoos. You got one you can share with us?
Yeah. So there is a song of mine called Tattoos and Battle Scars, and it was on my debut album. And basically what it's really about is in general is how to kind of give it kind of an analogy, every single person you meet in life has a story. And we tell those stories one way or the other. Some do it through podcasts, as you do. Some of us, like me, tell the stories through tattoos, and some of them, we even tell the stories through those scars on our body, whether those scars are from war or from childbirth or from falling off the bike when we're a kid. And I like to tell those stories through my music, but also, through the tattoos. Each tattoo kind of means something. I have my largest tattoo on my chest is an outline of the Marine Corps emblem, the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. And when they put that tattoo on my chest when I was much younger, they said that would make bullets bounce off it. It would be so cool. So I'm still here, so maybe it worked. But that tattoo is very, very special to me, and really all these tattoos that tell these stories, whether it's about my mom or about my heart and that kind of thing and things I've been through. So
Now, you've been a singer-songwriter for quite some time now, right?
right, that's right.
And this is something that first popped into your head when you were a kid.
Well, yeah, ever since I was a kid, um, I fell in love with music, and whether it was the comic book excitement of groups like Kiss, or whether it was the storytelling of American rock and roll icons like Tom Petty. Um, there was something about it for me. And from the first time that I held a guitar and yelled into a microphone, I just knew, sometimes you go through an experience in life and you just know it's for you. It was
Hmm.
a sense of belonging, and it really gave me my first voice. And I was like, wow, it was so exciting from that very first show I did as a teenager when I could say something into the microphone and make people feel and make people move and feel the way that I did. It was so empowering. And I knew it was something that would stick with me for a long time.
Well, you said, when you were a kid, you were inspired, you wanted to be a rocker. And what kid doesn't want to be a rocker? I
Right,
remember,
right.
growing up in San Diego in Southern California, single, parent household. Me and my brother would, I would be on the drums
Yeah.
that were like basically Tupperware and, the spaghetti, spoons,
Yeah.
and fake air guitars, to Led Zeppelin and
Yep.
freaking yeah,
Yep.
Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and Rat, and all these, freaking hardcore heavy metal folks. I mean, I even remember one time I went as far as to put my arm in my shirt so I could be the Led Zeppelin guy that had one arm that was playing playing the drums, but I definitely couldn't play a guitar and I couldn't sing. So, hey, much props to you for actually wanting to do something, being good at it, and then following through with it all these years later to continue on where you are now. Is basically you're a professional, you're getting paid to do this, you have a label, you tour Texas and Houston, and you open for folks sometimes in Nashville and across the country, and you travel. And so, hey, much respect to you, because I know that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, it's not easy to sing or play the guitar in my eyes. It probably comes a lot
Well,
easier for some other folks, but.
Yeah, on the one hand, you've definitely um, it's a tricky profession, and I think even if people do it amateur, it's still a profession of sorts. Um, any way you look at it, you've really got to kind of always be on your A game. You're under the lights. You're under a lot of times a lot of scrutiny. You're opening yourself up for a lot of judgment. So in the music industry, you've got to be pretty tough skinned, and you've got to do what you got to do for you and tell the story, or shall I say, from my perspective, I tell the story that I want to tell, and I do make this music for myself, for my own healing. I like to say that I'm finding my way home from war one song at a time, but
Mm.
I really try and write songs that will inspire others. It's a big platform, and I want to say something important with it. I've seen at many concerts I do with the music, the way I strum the guitar and the way I sing, that it's very special that, you can make people dance, you can make people happy, you can make them forget about their troubles for an hour or two while you're on stage. And that's really, really cool. So, yeah, it's really, really special. It's a really special thing.
So the mission behind your music is obviously, you're saying, hey, look, you're helping heal yourself and you're also helping to heal others. Have folks reached out to you and have given you and perhaps shared some stories of success from perhaps some of the lives that you may have changed with your lyrics and how you perform?
You know, yeah, and yes, definitely, and that really keeps me driving and keeps me motivated and keeps me, mission focused and moving forward. And I will tell you that after every live performance, it's really, really cool. There's at least one guy or gal in the crowd that'll come up to me and say, "Hey, that song that you sang, whether it's Do or Die or Tattoos and Battle Scars, or Never Surrender," they'll say that song resonated with me, and I feel hopeful. Um, I remember one show recently. It was one of our bigger shows, and we were opening up for a Nashville act, and here in Houston, and there was uh, a young veteran that had recently come back from Afghanistan, and it almost brought me to tears. He said that he loves music and he loves going to concerts, but that I basically sang his song, that one of the songs I sang really inspired him to hope and made him feel welcomed home, and really resonated with him as telling his story from his time overseas. And that was really cool that I could have a positive effect on somebody with my music.
Yeah, that's one hell of a compliment because a lot of people say the same thing about perhaps sometimes going to church. They haven't been to church in a very long time, and all of a sudden they go to one service and they're like, "That pastor just literally spoke directly to me."
Right.
you know? And so you can have the same impact on others through music, and you don't never know or realize what people are going through.
Right.
There's so many people that hide these issues in life. Like you said, the battle scars and the wounds that people don't want to talk about. A lot of folks are self isolating. There's a lot of damaged veterans out there, that are going through some hard times and some hardships, and through battling anxiety and depression and that self isolation. A
Mm.
lot don't really even come out. Their world is listening to podcasts and maybe listening to veteran singer songwriters like yourself to kind of begin their healing process of reintegrating back into the civilian world and really hearing other stories of success and perseverance and resilience to say, you know what, if that guy did it, if that gal did it, I'm going to do it too. And today is the day that I'm going to start to get 1% better. And this is how we're going to move forward. You know, you put a plan together and you execute that plan, just like in the military, you know, just like anything else. But I know you have a lot of new songs out. You've got some albums that we're going to dig into. You've got future releases. You've got events coming up. It's spring, it's summer. We're getting ready to really start getting into things. But where can people find you?
So, my recent album and the current series of singles that will make my second album are on all streaming platforms worldwide. So Apple, Amazon, Pandora, especially Spotify, and all of those streaming platforms. You can find the music everywhere, and I would love for people to go on to those streaming platforms, whichever they prefer, and listen to the music and decide for themselves. There's also a few official music videos that are on YouTube. All of the music is also on YouTube as well. A lot of people like to listen to YouTube music. So the videos and the music can be found on streaming and YouTube.
So
If you're looking for me for more content and the bio and the photos and one-stop shopping, ScottiFraser.com. Scotti spelled with an I, Fraser with an S. ScottiFraser.com is the website that has all of those things all in one place for you.
now, is that the same way that they're going to find you on, you know, say a Spotify, or do you need to type in something else? Is it just Scotti Fraser, or is it
Just
Scotti Fraser music, or
on Spotify? Just type in Scotti Fraser. Yes.
perfect? How many songs do you have on, say, a Spotify?
On Spotify, we've got about 20 songs right now. I say we because, you know, as far as the full band, I have an album with 10 songs on it. And there are 8 separate singles that have been released of that. And the newest of which is newest release single is the song Never Surrender. And I wanted to share with you from your prior topic that song I wrote. It's been getting really good traction and a good amount of streams. It seems like people are listening to it on streaming. That song was a direct call to battle personal hardships, PTSD, veteran suicide. And while I do have a heart for veterans, being a veteran, I do realize that all people, veteran or civilian, have experienced hardship and adversity. You know, every person you meet has gone through heartbreak of some kind. So I wanted to write a song that would be kind of a rallying point or a battle cry against, you know, against the darkness. So I wrote that song, Never Surrender. And it kind of came out one day. And the chorus says, I will never surrender on this life. And I really hope that people, when they listen to that, it gets in their minds and they sing it in their heart, and it becomes like a mantra when they're feeling down, that it's like a rally, a battle cry. I will never surrender on this life. I will keep fighting forward, you know.
Now, I take it that, and you don't need to answer this if it gets too personal. I'm just trying to get into your head on Never Surrender. Were you going through some battles at the time you wrote this song?
Absolutely. To be very transparent, when I came home from the Middle East, I came home a very different person. As happens with some veterans, I came home very broken, very emotionally broken from the graphic things that I experienced and did and saw. And while I'm very extremely proud of my service and would do it all again if the Marine Corps would just give me a chance to go back and do it all again with my brothers, I absolutely would. But I came home very different and very broken, and I kind of had to learn to to start over again, especially as I transitioned out of service. So yeah, you're right. That song was me finding my way home. I was broken for a while, a drop of blood for every mile. And what doesn't kill me makes me stronger. So maybe that was now that you mentioned it, it was me trying to push myself in the direction of staying positive and staying strong. And I hope it does that for other people along the way.
Sure. Healing yourself through your lyrics, through your writing, and then you sharing it with others to inspire them
Right.
to live their best life and to begin to heal themselves. Music is powerful. I mean, it
Absolutely.
is so powerful, especially when you can connect with a song that talks directly to you or
Right.
experience or I mean, music is so powerful that I think I was on a walk not long ago, and then I was like, yeah, I want to listen to some songs that I grew up on, like in the '80s,
Right.
and I just went to the '80s, top 30 or whatever, the top 100, and dude, the reminiscing and the memories that like you totally forgot about are
Right.
like boom, like they just happened yesterday when they
It
actually
takes you
happened,
right back to that place you were when you first heard that song. Yeah, I love
yeah,
that
like
about music.
35, 40 years ago. And I'm like, dude, I'm that old guy now that's listening to oldies. You know what
Right,
I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah, well, it's funny because even at my home here in Texas, in the maybe we've just got cool grocery stores, but they're either playing really cool classic rock music and really cool '90s alternative music in the Walmart, or I've just gotten old, and now I'm one of those old people that like the music in the grocery store.
because in the grocery store, they haven't really changed. They're just trying to play something that everybody can kind of just
Right?
agree on. And
Get
that's
you
hard to
happy and
do
get you
these
buying
days.
stuff. Yeah.
What can we play that no one will come up to us and say your music's horrible? Okay, let's just put on something, some classic rock, dude, and walk
Yeah.
away. You know what I mean? We'll be good to
Right.
go. Um, Now you did come back, like you said, you had some, some brokenness there. Um, what did the transition look like for Scotti Fraser once you got back from, you know, being overseas and making that transition from the military life back into civilian life?
It was pretty challenging for me. So I had a lot of anger and started experiencing a lot of depression and a lot of sadness. Um, but I definitely missed the camaraderie, as challenging as it was living with those guys in Echo Company. Um, um, we ribbed each other quite a bit, but it was that brotherhood and that sense of family that I missed. Here I am basically in a new unit called the First Civ Div, the civilian world, and I've got to make those connections over again and start that family. And when you go through something like combat or anyone who serves, combat or otherwise, you have that brotherhood, that sisterhood, those really strong connections from going through a shared hardship. And I just missed all those guys. I missed those Marines I served with. Um, having someone that at any moment's notice, cares about you so much that they would jump on a grenade for you. And that's the way that all of us in my unit were. We were so loyal to each other and we went through hell and back together. And it was challenging to not have that. I was very, very blessed that by the time I came home from overseas, my girlfriend, who's now my wife of 20 years, she's a Marine daughter herself. And she She had an understanding for, a military person such as myself. So I really did have a comradeship and really a good support system just in her alone. A lot of guys and gals don't have that. So, my heart goes out to them.
Outstanding. It's always good to have some good support at home,
Right,
especially, through, a wife, that
right,
can
right,
be there for you and that can fully understand, hey, look, I know what you're going through and I'm here,
right,
not only as a wife, but as a friend. I can listen and, share that, that bond there,
right,
which is great because a lot of veterans, they don't have that. They have
right,
walls and a bottle of booze and some pills.
right,
And at times that, those days of darkness, are very real, and it's very scary, finding yourself on the other end of that. But yeah, just putting out there, that there is hope out there, as long as you keep the faith and trust the process. You're not going to
right,
get better overnight. It takes years and years and years to, to practice getting better. It takes discipline and, and a lot of focus and, you wanting to help yourself,
right,
so
absolutely, in concert with, with a supportive significant other, I was very not everybody has that. I was very blessed to have that. She never left and she never quit when she really should have a long time ago. I've jokingly said that I don't know, you know, you know, how much I trust someone who would settle for settling for a guy like me. But she's like a Marine, she's like a soldier in that fight and had no quit in her. And even when there was broken glass and yelling and all those hardships that she never quit. But I mean, just to touch on what you just said, for veterans or folks going through hardship, there are people out there who care. And I always stop my show in the middle of the show and let people know. I say some words of positivity that you know every person, like at my show, I like to tell them that they matter. Their life matters. As soon as they leave that building is forever changed. It's a lesser place without you in it. So, there's for people going through those kind of hardships, there's the Veterans Crisis Line. And I would just say to just reach out, get some hope, and try and get some positivity. And you matter. If you're watching this right now, hey, you matter. Your life matters. You're part of what makes this country special. So,
folks, we are being joined by Scotti Fraser, who is a U.S. Marine combat veteran, as well as a singer-songwriter, and he also has a label, Sergeant Records. You can check him out on all streaming platforms to include Apple, Amazon, Spotify, even YouTube. Just simply search Scotti Fraser, and that's Scotty with an I on the end, Scotti Fraser, Fraser. Now, Scotty, you've got some new songs coming out, right?
um, yeah, I'm actually finishing what will be my second album.
Mhm.
So, I've got 6 of those songs released on Spotify and streaming right now. And those songs seem to be tracking pretty well. People seem to be enjoying them, and that makes me really happy. It's why I do it. And there will be a couple more songs that I'm finishing in the studio. I'm in a really great studio in Houston, Texas, with a kind of a legendary Grammy nominated producer right now. So it's really special, and I'm really honored. And when those last few songs are done, it'll be released as the second album. And the second album will be titled Never Surrender. So we're really excited about it.
Have you written every single one of your songs?
I have, except for on the first album, there's one song called Heroes, and that was written by David Bowie, and it's been covered by a few people. And I wanted to cover that song, and I wanted to do my own version as a salute as a nod to those that I served with for how I feel about them being my heroes and my inspiration. But yeah, all those other songs, those are all written by me. Those are all my thoughts and inspired by people I served with, inspired by music I enjoy. And it all comes out of this crazy little gray matter in between my ears.
Totally. What goes into writing a song?
You know, sometimes there's a certain subject matter, like if it's Never Surrender, and I want to make a big statement about something specific. And I'll specifically set out to write on a subject matter. Sometimes it just pops in my head and just comes to me. I'm really not a songwriting genius. Sometimes these things, maybe God gives it to me or it just comes out of thin air, but sometimes these ideas kind of pop in the head. Sometimes you hear inspirations in other places. Um, in a lot of ways, so I still suffer with nightmares after my time in combat. And where a lot of these songs come from, I'll wake up from a nightmare at 3 o'clock in the morning. Seems to happen at about 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'll go into my home studio, which is the room I'm in right now. And I'll try and clear my head and try and digest what happened in the dream and try and wash it away. And instead of grabbing the bottle, I'll grab my guitar. And that's really where a lot of these songs started was those tough moments after nightmares at 3 o'clock in the morning and grabbing the guitar and trying to tell that story and digest it.
Wow, interesting. So you would say that a lot of your songs are written after some really bad dreams.
Yeah, it's those early morning hours, and maybe it's because we did a lot of patrols in the dark in the early morning hours. Maybe something stuck with me that keeps me waking up at those hours. I think a lot of people probably have that same experience. Um, but there's just something about that grabbing the guitar and quietly going into the home studio and trying to write about those experiences seem to be cathartic and therapeutic. It's like an immersion therapy, I guess.
Hmm.
Not unlike what the VA does with their immersion therapy, and um, just trying to digest those things, those
Sure.
thoughts, and turn it into a positive way. Taking something heartbreaking and hardship like the nightmare and turning it into a song that can do something positive for somebody.
I've often talked about folks having really bad habits, when they're going through a lot of life challenges and life struggles. And we all suffer, like you said. It doesn't matter if you're in the military or not. I mean,
Absolutely,
you know,
absolutely,
everybody suffers. There's so much trauma out there in the world and in our country, in our community. It doesn't matter. Everybody goes through it.
absolutely,
Grieving, everybody grieves different. There's so much out there, and to be able to connect with all of those people on different playing fields and different life experiences, that says a lot about your music. But when you're writing these songs, and it seems as if you write a lot about trauma and those traumatic type events. How long does it take you to even write a song? I mean, are we talking like maybe hours or maybe sometimes weeks or months?
Well, the answer is yes to all of the above. There are some songs that I sit down with and they're done in 10 minutes. And then when I get the chance to bring them into the studio here in Houston, into the recording studio, the producer will help me kind of fine tune uh, that song. But there are songs that I'll have 10 to 20 different songs, lyrics on the laptop in a folder, home demos of guitar parts, and I'll have some that have been going on for months, and I'll take pieces and parts from each and put them together. Some of them I write an idea and I move on to another idea, and then that first idea, that old idea comes back to me 6 months later. So
Mm.
yeah, it there was there's a song called Coming Home that will be on this second record that was actually written when I was locked in my bedroom when I had COVID in 2020. Um, and my family put me in the bedroom with a guitar and and medicine and that kind of thing. And that kind of finally came to life. So there's a new song that I wrote inspired by my wife, and it's a love song called Against the World. And the chorus says, "It's you and me against the world." And it's about facing life's challenges and going down that road of life together with the one you love, whoever that. And that song came together in about 5 minutes. So those lyrics just kind of just kept rolling, and I was in a real creative space. So sometimes they take a long time, and sometimes they're pretty quick.
Sure, sure. And it's all about having that healthy hobby. You
Right,
know, there's, unhealthy hobbies, substance abuse, finding your way at the end of a bottle and, just uh, hanging out with the wrong crowd and just
right,
bringing yourself down through a lot of negativity out there, which is very easy to do. I mean, because we're surrounded by it. The scent out,
right.
around us is, very real, and it's everywhere. So it's so easy to get caught up in all the bad energy, if you will, but to find that positive energy, to ground yourself, to connect yourself with something that is healthy, that is not only going to help you, but to help others, again, is the mission, it sounds like, behind your music. Now, you are in Houston. We have a ton of listeners in the Houston metro area.
Love Houston.
Do you
H-Town
have any
strong.
do you have any concerts coming up that people can go support you?
Well, I'm glad that you asked that. So, my record label, my production company, Sergeant Records, we put on events every few months in the greater Houston area, and these events are growing in size, and we're reaching a lot of people. Our mission with Sergeant Records is to bring hope and empowerment to veterans and those facing personal hardships with the healing powers of music. Our next event will be at Pitch 25, which is a huge venue complex. It's a beer garden place. They also have great food, but it is owned by the owner of the Houston Dynamo pro soccer team, and he's been very, very kind to us to really give us the run of the place. A huge stage, indoor and outdoor section. They have an indoor soccer field, mini soccer field at this place, and family are welcome. All are welcome to this. It's a free event, and it is called our Operation Baby event. And yeah, it sounds like a baby shower, but as we do a different event uh, uh, every few months, and we have a different benefactor, what we're doing is we're doing basically a diaper drive concert centered around a concert. So we're trying to get diapers, wipes, baby essentials, new in package baby essentials to help struggling veteran families and young moms and young families. So, two of our benefactors are the Combined Arms Veteran Resource Center, which is in Houston, and on the south side, the Anchor Point Ministries Resource Center that helps young families and a lot of young single moms as well. So, there's a lot of folks that are financially struggling now, and we want to be a blessing to them. And for folks that, some can't even afford baby essentials.
Yeah.
They can't even afford diapers are expensive and wipes and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to get these things to bless and help these families.
Very nice of you. Now, when is Operation Baby kicking off?
Operation Baby will be Saturday, April 13th from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And it is on Walker near the Astro Stadium in East Downtown. We're going to have 4 let me say this. We're going to have myself. I'm going to be performing an hour of music, and we've got 3 other amazing artists. I'd like to tell you their names. Emily Glazner is one, and she's an incredible singer-songwriter. Doug Westcott, who has a style like Ed Sheeran with the live looping. He's absolutely amazing. And my good friend Tucker Hart, who does more of a country-sided style. So it'll be an acoustic concert centered around a diaper drive.
Go out and see Scotti Fraser, Emily Glasner, Doug Westcott, and Tucker Hart.
Absolutely.
Saturday,
great music.
April 13th in Houston by Minute Maid Park, East Downtown at Pitch 25. What Scotti Fraser and Sargent Records is all about, folks, is delivering that hope and empowerment and the healing powers of music to bring people together, sharing camaraderie, have a good time, grab
Absolutely.
a burger, grab a beer out of the beer garden. It's a free event. Bring some diapers, bring some baby wipes.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be. I mean, you might want to show up in a diaper. That's fine too.
Yeah, well, you know, whether you show up in a diaper or whatever, we want to bring camaraderie. We want to bring people together. We definitely want to connect our veteran community with our civilian community. While we're a veteran organization, we want to connect our city, and we want to connect people. We want to bring hope to people that are going through hardship, and we just want to do something positive. The mission is the music, but the mission is bigger than just me. This is more than just about me. It's just about helping other people, doing something positive, making our community stronger. Come on down to Pitch 25, April 13th, 12 to 4. Enjoy the music, hug some necks and meet people. And there'll be a number of veteran service organizations that are there, and other sponsoring local organizations like the Carbach Brewing people are getting behind us, and some other community organizations. So just come on down and just connect.
Like you said, hey, look, it's not about me. It's about connecting people, through the healing powers of music. That is your mission behind your music. And really what you just kind of described there is that you're just this conduit, really.
Yeah.
You're a conduit between your thoughts and your emotions and everything you've been through, and you're sending it through that conduit into hopefully the hearts and minds of millions.
I appreciate that word, conduit, and that's really what Sargent Records is supposed to be. It's just supposed to be kind of really, a harbor site or a rallying point. The magic is with the connections of the people that are at our events, and hopefully long-lasting friendships and connections with resources of people that that come to our live concerts and our benefit events. But we just want to be that conduit. We just want to be that rally point and just connect people.
Love it, man. Folks, like Scotti was just saying, in Houston at Pitch 25, this place is awesome. They're going to have a lot to offer there. It's an acoustical concert. Scotti Fraser, Emily Glasner, Doug Westcott, Tucker Hart, 12 to 4. Bring some diapers, bring some wipes, bring some Gerber. I mean, bring whatever can help a single mother or some veteran families that are going through some difficult times. The economy is kind of going down a little bit. Things are so expensive with inflation and all that stuff. So what these guys are doing is they're working in conjunction with folks like Combined Arms here in Houston to deliver some goods to help those folks in need. So this is a very good charitable donation that you'd be making. Like I said, and they're not even charging you to get in. I mean, so folks, go spend a really great afternoon here in Houston, April 13th, before it gets really hot and really humid, and go listen to some great songs. Scotti, I'm going to give you the final words here. say there's some veterans right now that are going through some hard times. And I know we've talked a lot about life challenges and the anxieties of life and the depressions of life. What kind of inspiration or advice could you give to some folks out there that may be struggling and going through some hard times right now? What can you do and say specifically to these people to help them get up, get out, and start the life that they were intended to live?
You know, I wish I had a magic pill or just a magic phrase. For me, it's those lyrics in the song that, like my song Count the Cost. I try and stay positive on that one. And the chorus says, one day we'll count the cost to find that what we gained is more than what we lost. And that really kind of came out of a prayer in my heart, is that if we look, it's sometimes when you're going through hardship, it's easier said than done. And I know I've battled depression myself as well. But I think if we look in the right places and we can find the good, and I hope people can find the good, whether it's in the sun outside or in a good song. I could just say to somebody like, not so much about my music, but just, if you're going through those battles, just put on a good song, something positive. Put on a hopeful song, just something that that might turn your mood around. And that's what I do. It's not always my music. There's so much music I enjoy that, when I'm down, I just put on that song to try and lift my spirits, and just say a prayer and, keep battling through. I just want to tell people that you're important, you're needed, you're wanted, you're an important part of this world. And this world is a lesser place without you. So don't give up the battle. Don't give up the fight. If you're suffering and having bad thoughts, reach out that Veterans Crisis Line. All you got to do is Google it and it'll pop right up. And if you're not a veteran, there are crisis lines. There's suicide prevention and crisis lines out there. Just Google it. We've all got the phones with Google on it. Just Google it. But I just hope, my prayer is like the lyrics in that song, that I hope at the end of all this that we find that what we've gained is more than what we've lost.
Perfect. Some great final words there from U.S. Marine combat veteran, singer-songwriter, Scotti Fraser. Look, man, thank you so much for joining us today. We really, as our listeners, sincerely appreciate everything you have done and continue to do in the military and veteran community. Your service, sacrifice, and dedication to our great nation is truly admirable, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. It was an absolute honor to serve in the Marines, and now it's an honor to serve people with music.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you out there on April 13th.
Absolutely. We got to get you up on the stage and say a few words.
Okay, man. Can I do some crowd surfing, maybe?
Absolutely.
Man, I've always wanted to do that. So stand by there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap this up. Folks, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the program. It has never been easier to listen to this podcast. We are on Facebook, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TikTok, and Twitter. Simply search Today with Tally. And it's not Twitter anymore. It's X. I'm going to stay up with the times. Also learn more about me and my personal story, and perhaps even get my new book at briantally.com. That's briantally.com. Folks, remember to stay inspired, stay encouraged, stay motivated, and always stay in the fight. Until next time for the Today with Tally podcast, this is Brian Tally. Good night, Semper Fi. God bless.
And in the night you're close to me, you pull me back when my dreams take me to dark places over there. And I thank God that you were there.
This is the Today with Tally podcast.